I would like you all to consider this. Firefighters and police officers are people who at one point in his or her life wrote a blank check payable to the citizens of Elyria for an amount up to and including their life. This is something that we have all come to expect as being part of the job. We don't go to work in the morning expecting something to happen to us on the job. But when we kiss our loved ones goodbye as we leave, we know that there is that possibility that we may not be able to return to them. We hear members of communities who have lost members of the emergency services in the line of duty praising those responders and their survivors when they suffer the loss of a loved one while on the job. But these are the same ones who cast their dispersions upon the same individuals for working the hours of overtime that take them away from their families in order to serve their communities and keep them safe. And yet I hear the mayor and members of his administration badmouth the members of the fire department, chastising them for the amount of money requested in their budget, saying in a public forum at a city council meeting, "It is not the amount of money we spend within the fire department, but for me, we've been spending more than they should need. It's the value of what we are getting out of that department that's in question." That statement alone is a slap in the face to all the brave members of both the fire department and the police department. I suffered a stroke while on duty, stressing over these issues and how it would affect not only the citizens of the city of Elyria, of which my wife and children and many other family members are included, but how it would also affect the safety of my brother and sister firefighters tasked to provide the protection of life and property of our citizens. We have department heads who have been tasked to provide the leadership as the professionals who have worked their way up the ranks within the departments to provide the leadership and professionalism to perform the duties tasked to the personnel within their departments. Yet they are not listened to. For years, the fire chiefs have constantly been providing information to the mayor's office based on their years of professional service, but it seems that they've continually fallen on deaf ears. For years, the turnover rate within the fire department has been an issue. Due to retirements, long-term injuries and illnesses, and military leave, which has taken some of our youngest and brightest members to wars in both Iraq and Afghanistan. Thank God our members have returned safely from war. However, the hirings have not kept pace with even the retirements. The mayor has said that it is cheaper to pay the overtime than to maintain the minimum manning requirements by hiring new firefighters. Yet in public forums, he blames the firefighters for the budget crisis because of their overtime. Well, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. But this just aggravates the heck out of me, and I feel my blood pressure starting to rise already. So before it gets out of control, let me conclude by saying to the department heads in the city, I urge you to carefully read over and study the city's emergency operation plan, which addresses the department's responsibility should a disaster strike in the city. The plan is currently in effect, having been approved by the city administration following countless hours spent working on the development of the city's plan by Assistant Chief Bob Dempsey from the Fire Department, Captain Dan Jekyll from the Police Department, Mr. Tom Kelly from the Lorain County Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, and myself. We've missed an ideal opportunity to practice the use of the emergency plan with the snowstorms that we've had the past couple of years. Instead, we operate in responsive actions instead of predetermined actions, even when we knew up to 5 days in advance before the storm struck and the snow began falling. And to the citizens of the city of Elyria, as a firefighter, I urge you to practice fire safety and make sure your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors are working and have fresh batteries in them. This coming weekend is when we turn the clocks ahead for daylight savings time. Take the time to change those batteries. And with that, make sure that your family has an action plan, an escape plan, just in case you are faced with a fire or carbon monoxide emergency. Don't wait or hesitate to call 911 in any situation. The longer you wait to call, the longer it's going to take for the first responders to arrive at the scene. Also, I urge citizens to become involved in their neighborhood block watch programs through the police department and their community emergency response team program through the Emergency Management Agency. We all need to be aware of what's going on around us in our neighborhoods and take care of each other. I thank you, Mr. President and members of council, for this opportunity to speak before you.
Thank you.